Well, guys, this is why I tell you to make sure you have the bell turned on, the notifications turned on, because sometimes I don't know when I'm going to go live. Um, that's why I stopped scheduling live shows, because something would happen, life happens, and I'd have to reschedule it. So I don't schedule live shows anymore. I go on whenever I can go on. So that's why it's important to hit that bell whenever you subscribe. And guys, we are chunking subscribers right now. I'm very confident now that we're going to reach 10,000 subscribers by kickoff of the Backyard Brawl. Very, very confident. So happy to see all that. Happy to see the growth of the channel. And I took my wife to the hospital for another MRI. As y'all know, she has MS. It is manageable, but it's a change of lifestyle. You got to have MRIs. You got to give yourself a shot. All that stuff. I went through it whenever I had Crohn's disease and spondylitis right when they found out. But so we went to the hospital for her MRI, right? Well, there was this family. I was waiting on my wife to be done with her MRI, and there was this family that came into the waiting room, and their son had to have an MRI as well, and he was young. If I had to guess, I would say like maybe 11, 12, 13, like that. And I had a good talk with him. He was a little, he wasn't too happy about having to have an MRI, even though there was no needles involved. So I was like, man, I felt like I needed to make his day better. So I offered him. I said, "Hey man, just go over to our merchandise store, pick you out something, and it's on me. I'm going to send you something to make your day better." And I told him I would give him a shout out. I told him about Golden Blue Dude and the YouTube channel we have over here, and I told him that I'd give him a shout out. So shout out to Leland. Even if you're not watching right now, and maybe you have to watch the replay or whatever, I didn't forget. I remember you. So I wanted to give you a shout out. Hopefully everything goes okay for you and your day gets better. And they did subscribe to the channel, so I appreciate that as well. Everybody in the chat section, doesn't matter if you spell it right or wrong, give a shout out to Leland. We want to make his day better. That's the bottom line with that. So a quick reminder that I try to give out every live show at the beginning. If you haven't hit the like button, the thumbs up, please do so. It helps this video. It's not a pat on the back, nothing like that. It helps the video to hit the YouTube algorithm. And then whenever that happens, it gets suggested more and more people see it and click on it. And boom, that's how the show grows. So if you haven't, please hit the thumbs up. And you guys are really good at that. So I got to give you guys, I'm giving you guys a thumbs up because y'all are really good at giving me a thumbs up. If you have a question that you want me to address, or a comment, or you want to troll me, make fun of me, whatever, $, super chat, bottom right hand corner of the comment section. That's how you get noticed. Whatever you put in that super chat, I will put on the screen. I will read it. If it's a question, I will answer it to the best of my ability. If it's a comment, I will read the comment. Even if it's a troll, I will read the troll. So that's how you get that done. The super chat button, it is that little bitty $sign that you see on the bottom right-hand corner right under the chat. Now, on to today's topic. I don't even know what today's topic is because it's all over the place. I did a video earlier in the day about, the Pac-12 being held hostage by Oregon and Washington. Number one, the deal that ESPN offered the Pac-12 is garbage, not good. $245 million, even split evenly. That's what, $45 million a piece. I mean, that's not terrible, I guess, but it's not great. But then it gets worse. So Oregon and Washington want a 16.5% cut from that. Okay, that gives them, I think, I had the numbers written down. 40.4. I did the math wrong earlier. That was not 45. I don't know what it was, but this was much higher. So 16.5% cut gives them 40.4 million apiece. Now that's not much. It's a little bit more than what they were making in the last Pac-12 TV deal. Okay, but then Stanford and Cal, they want a 13.5 cut of it, and they would get $33 million. That's a little bit lower than what the Pac-12 was making. But if that were to happen, then that means Arizona State, Colorado, Utah, Oregon State, and Washington State would only get a 6.5% cut or 6.6% cut, $16.1 million apiece. Not good at all. The Nature Boy, thank you for the $5 super chat. Says, "Long live the ACC show." And I do watch the ACC show. It has some good content. That's where Pigskin Pete and Sea Dog chop it up and talk about the ACC. I think they were talking about Virginia Tech and another school. I'm not sure who. I think it was Virginia Tech and Wake Forest. So yes, I will shout out the ACC show. Thank you, Judicial Protest, for the $5 donation. Says the backyard brawl is in jeopardy. Robert Wallach gave the Pitt offensive line monkeypox. Oh crap. Story confirmed by 247 Sports. Shout out to Leland. Absolutely. Hey, way to shout out Leland in the super chat. That is what I'm talking about. That's an amazing shout out right there. Hey, if they have to forfeit, we'll take the forfeit, but we'd rather beat them on the field. And by the way, for week 1, the backyard brawl is the number 1 game being bet on. It is the game that most people are placing bets on. I'm going to do a video on that tomorrow. Mayhem Matthew is doubling up on the ACC show. He says, "Long live the ACC show," and we appreciate your $2 super chat, $2 donation. We got Jeff Grimm on, and now I'm bringing on Sergeant Pickles. Great supporter of Golden Blue, but I believe this is the first time you've come on this show, Sergeant Pickles. Am I mistaken, or is that correct? You there, Sergeant Pickles? Great name, by the way. Hold on, let me. I'm getting backed up on super chats. This is crazy. Thank you, Brandon Pratt, for the $2 donation. Says, "Long live GBA and on." Absolutely. You can call this, college football and on, GBD and on, Golden Blue and on. I don't care. Works for me. Vandy Dandy with the $1.99 super chat. Why does the ACC suck so bad? I don't have the answer to that question other than it's flooded with your Boston colleges, your Syracuses, your Georgia Techs. So it's very, very top heavy, and the middle is kind of carved out. So you have a few teams at the top and a lot of teams at the bottom. So I guess that's the best way I can answer that. Not just any Uncle Lou, the Uncle Lou, thank you for the $5 donation. Says, there hasn't been a true statement made on this channel in 3 months. 4 months, sir. 4 months. Not 3 months. 4 months. 4 months. There you go. No, some of it's come true, but you don't. Here's the thing about the videos that I put out, and Jeff can attest to this. What's true today sometimes isn't true tomorrow because of a decision from a team outside of the situation that you didn't see coming. Oh, I didn't know they were going to do that. And then that changes the situation. Does that make sense, Mr. Jeff Grimm?
Yeah, the problem is you got certain people doing YouTubers and that, and they're like, well, I'm always right. Well, it's really easy to be right after ESPN announces it and everybody else announces it. But when you're hearing stuff happening beforehand, you're not always going to be right because things change.
Oh man, I'm wrong all the time. See, that's what I try to make my subscribers understand. This channel isn't about being right or wrong. It's about giving you what I'm hearing, and then we'll see what's right and what's wrong. So it's kind of like so I'm hearing this. I don't know if it's going to happen, but this is what I'm hearing. We'll see if it happens. P Digits, thank you for the generous $19.99 donation. Says Finkel is Einhorn. Wait, am I reading that right? Is that Einhorn or Elhorn? Elhorn. Einhorn. Okay, there you go. Finkel is Einhorn. Go Tigers. I love GBD. I appreciate the kind words. Sorry I butchered that a little bit. It probably would have stung a little bit more if I would have gotten it right off the bat. But, sometimes I can't read. Sergeant Pickles, are you with us, buddy?
I hope so.
There you go. Yeah, loud and clear. So I was saying earlier you're a big-time supporter of the show, but I think this is the first time you've actually joined the show. Is that correct?
It is, yeah. Normally you're streaming when I'm still finishing up at work. Gotta love that Pacific time zone.
Yeah, exactly. So you're out on the West Coast, right?
Yeah, I'm just outside of Tacoma, south of Seattle.
Nice, nice. So you're in the thick of this Pac-12 nonsense going on, right?
Yeah, that's a lot of anxiety. I didn't go to the university, but I've been, Husky fan since I was a kid, and it was just like a bomb went off as soon as USC and UCLA left, and
Yeah.
everyone's looking left and right and doesn't know, up from down. It's like everything you knew about the Pac and the legacy in 100 years. USC carried a lot of that, and it's just vanished.
Gone. Yeah, absolutely. Well, whenever I talked about the Pac-12 being picked apart, and one of my, here's the way I do my videos, right? I give out different scenarios, like, okay, it's very plausible that Oregon and Washington go to the Big Ten. It's very plausible that USC and UCLA go to the Big Ten, and the same with the SEC. It's very plausible that Washington, Oregon go to the SEC. Very plausible that USC and UCLA go to the SEC. So I give out all these scenarios, and usually one of those happens. So whenever USC and UCLA went to the Big Ten, I was like, I didn't necessarily see that coming, but I saw it as plausible. So me and Jeff were talking earlier, and we're actually starting to hear something about Notre Dame, Stanford, Oregon, and Washington coming into the Big Ten all together. Now, that hinges on Notre Dame because Notre Dame wants to stay independent. That's the bottom line. Okay, if they can get that $75 million a year payout or more, they're going to stay independent. So that group right there would hinge on Notre Dame. So if you take Notre Dame out of that equation, I think that just eliminates Stanford. I think Oregon and Washington still end up in the Big Ten because of their brand value. But the Big Ten just want to make sure that they leave no stone unturned as far as Notre Dame goes. Does that make you feel a little bit better?
I don't know if it makes me feel any more easy about it. I mean, I've done some battle with people in your comments, especially Big 12 fans.
Oh yeah,
and it's pretty natural to kind of defend where you're coming from. You don't want to see people take a swipe at it, but I really do think that Washington, at least on paper, they're worthy of being in the Big Ten. Now, whether or not that means they actually get there, that's just hard to say. But on paper, they're right in the middle. I would compare them to kind of like in Iowa, maybe a Wisconsin in their better years where they can play some really good ball. They have the academics. They have the big market. Everything's in place for them. And it's a little tough. You get to see people like Rutgers and Maryland kind of waffle along with their $100 million, and you're kind of, picking up chump change over here in the Pac. And you can't really do that forever. So I don't really know what that leads to is kind of the huge uncertainty.
I would agree with that. It's like your two choices are hang on to the Pac-12 until its dying days, or catch a lifeline to the Big 12, and then maybe the doors of the Big 10 open up in the future. I mean, I know leaving early is, there's a penalty, but the Big 12 has been very, I don't know, not so tough to get out of. So if there's any conference that you could use as a stepping stone, I would think the Big 12 would be, number one. Let me get this super chat real quick. Thank you. Judicial Protest for the $5 donation says, Pat McAfee is a choke artist. He missed 2 field goals in the 13-9 loss to Pitt. Now he chokes on Robert Wallach during Pride Month. Yeah, I mean, he was a choke artist in that Pitt game, yes. But overall, he was actually one of our most reliable field goal kickers. That night, everything that could go wrong went wrong. I mean, even if you're not a West Virginia fan, you probably remember that game because it was part of a crazy 2007. There was a lot of crazy games, and it just so happened the Backyard Brawl was the cream of the crop, the last game to go down. So yeah, anything, number one, Pat White was injured, right? I think it was one of his hands was injured. I think it was his throwing hand, actually. And then, of course, Pat McAfee missed 2 field goals, which would have gave us the lead. And Pitt scored 13 points. It's not like they were scoring a ton of points, We just had to score more than 13, and we couldn't do it because we kept missing field goals. That was a nightmare of a night. I don't like thinking about it, but unfortunately, it is forever part of West Virginia's football history, so not much you can do about it. I'm adding another Pac-12 fan on here. So Sergeant Pickles and Tim, you guys have each other for company whenever it comes to Pac-12, or at least former Pac-12 members. I know USC is going off to the Big Ten.
Yeah, Tim decided he was too cool for us.
Well, it wasn't Tim's decision. To his credit, it wasn't his decision. It was the decision of USC. But yes, the Trojans did, kind of say, give the middle finger to the Pac-12 on the way out and said, hey, we're off to the Big Ten, greener pastures. We're too good for this. Maybe Oregon and Washington does the same thing, and maybe you can actually, bond over that instead of, maybe thinking that they're looking down on you. It's like, man, well, actually, that was the right decision, because I think it was. It's all about money, and the Pac-12 was not going to match anything close to what the Big Ten has, even if USC and UCLA stayed. It wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, no, I mean, truth be told, I feel grateful to receive the offer. Me as a fan, I'm glad.
I'll take that back. It was Tim. He did decide it. Confirmed.
Yeah, well, no, the whole point is I was actually in Indy when it happened, so I was joking with Mark Rogers about that. But no, if everything be equal, I mean, I think it's pretty honored. I think any team that was going to bring into the Big Ten is going to be happy with it, especially the money. But overall, I mean, if all things be equal, I'm going to miss the Pac-12. I grew up in the Pac-12. You know what I mean? My whole life when I went to school, we were in the Pac-12. I mean, all my memories about the Pac-12. So if all things being equal, I would love to stay in the Pac-12. But like we all know, this is all about money now. And it's not about being greedy. It's about if you want to survive. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like Hunger Games now, right? It's just literally what it is. It's not about being greedy and lining our pockets. It's do you want to compete with Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, and these? I mean, when Rutgers is making more money than your school, when Rutgers and Indiana are making more in USC in football, there's something wrong. Do you know what I mean?
That'll make you raise your eyebrows. And you know what? What you just said, that might not be a bad video title. Hunger Games in college football. You like that? I like it.
It's not about greed. It's about survival, isn't it? I mean, when you look at making 20 million or 30 million compared to 100 million, 70 to 80 million dollar difference in revenue every year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think USC and UCLA would have stayed in the Pac-12 if they could have had Big Ten money. It wasn't, they're a better conference. It's, they're making a lot more money. If the Pac-12 could have made Big Ten money, they would have stayed in the Pac-12. Thomas, I see you there, buddy. How are you?
Oh, hey, man. How you doing, Golden Blue dude?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Dude, doing good, man. Just really love the college football community and all you guys. I know you've been real centered on this conference realignment stuff and been all over it.
Yeah, it's kind of I have to see. Here's the thing. Like, I've been obsessed with college football my entire life. That's the whole reason why I started this YouTube channel, right? Well, I didn't know that I needed conference realignment until it happened. So that's like that's my obsession of my obsession. Does that make any sense? I didn't know I needed it, but I did.
Yeah, and like you, I mean, I'm sure you remember, as I do, because I'm a big college football fan. I go to a game at least every year, depending on what team it is. And we remember the 2012 realignments, the 2010 realignments just rocked everything. And now we're at it again a decade later. It just keeps happening.
Yeah, and it happens in waves every time. And it seems like the Big 12 is in the middle of it every single time. They lose some, they bring some in. Are they going to lose some more in the future? Probably, but they'll probably bring some more in. It's the conference that won't die, even though they keep getting picked apart.
Yeah, I've been to a lot of Big 12 games. My grandfather is a Texas Longhorn alum, and I would go to games growing up with him to UT back in the Mac Brown era, and my cousin played at A&M when they were in the Big 12. So I've been exposed to the Big 12 my entire life, and I really love it. It's kind of a shame back in, that they get this kind of knock of just getting the scraps, and they're nothing compared to the Big 10 and SEC, which they're not. But I do enjoy the conference, and I'm glad that it's going to survive. I think they got the best they could get as far as the scraps are concerned.
Oh, I agree with that. Quickly, Fester, Appreciate the $100 donation, and I appreciate the message in the super chat as well. Just bought tickets to the Backyard Brawl. Hey, man, I've had my tickets. I'm ready to go. We will be in the touchdown end zone because that's where they have the visitors. But they are expecting, I think what they're saying is they're expecting around 30,000 West Virginia fans. So basically helping Pitt, fill their own stadium. There's going to be some Pitt fans, a lot of Pitt fans, but there's also going to be a lot of West Virginia fans. I got my ticket. We are good to go. My brother has his ticket. He's good to go. We are pumped. We're going to do a live show there as well. And what we're looking at, and I've talked to Joey about this, we might be looking at a perfect storm for this channel because we'll be going to the Backyard Brawl, right? And we're going to be doing a live show. And the Backyard Brawl hasn't been played for over a decade. Think about that. That's not right. That should be illegal, but it is what it is. So we're going to the first Backyard Brawl that hasn't happened in over a decade, and we might hit 10,000 subscribers on that day or shortly before that day. Of course, according to the last 2 days, we might reach 10,000 by the end of this week. We've had two really, really good days. So this is a perfect storm coming together for Golden Blue Dude. And I think that's a good sign for West Virginia that, I'm confident that West Virginia is going to win this game, but maybe we'll surprise some people and straight up blow out Pitt. Like I said earlier, this is the number one game that's being bet on in week 1 right now. West Virginia versus Pitt. I don't know what side the money's being thrown on the most. I would probably say West Virginia because Pitt is favored. And if you look at who's lost and who's won, Pitt's lost the most and West Virginia's gained the most. So people might be confident in picking West Virginia. I know I am. So I would, if I had to guess, I might be wrong. I've been wrong before. But if I had to guess, I would say most of the smart money is going on West Virginia.
They are the defending ACC champs. So
Pitt. You know what? Yes, I do have to give Pitt the credit for that. They are the defending ACC champs. The only thing that hurts them is they lost their offensive coordinator, Whipple. He went to Nebraska. They lost one of the best quarterbacks ever for Pitt in Kenny Pickett. Of course, he's on to the NFL. It's not like he transferred, but they did lose a transfer in Jordan Addison. That is a big hit on Pitt. You cannot instantly replace a guy like that. Even if he's attracting defenders and he doesn't have a great day catching, he's opening up, passing lanes for the other wide receivers. So that hurts Pitt a lot. And then you flip the coin to West Virginia. We actually have an offensive coordinator for the first time in 3 years. We actually have a veteran athletic quarterback in JT Daniels. I know the biggest question is health, right? Well, this is the first game of the year. He's going to be healthy for that at least. So we're going to have him. We have all 5 of our starting offensive linemen back. We have Caden Prather and Bryce Ford Wheaton expected to be some of the best wide receivers in the nation. And then underrated Sam James. I am very confident in this team beating Pitt convincingly. I'm saying between 10 and 13 points. Am I sounding crazy right now, guys?
I don't think Pitt wins that many games this year.
Say that again.
The one thing about Pitt, last year they won, but you look at the ACC last year. Who did the ACC have last year that was good? When Wake Forest is your second best team, you got a problem. That'd be like Vanderbilt playing either Alabama or Georgia in the SEC champion. Come on.
Yeah, and the 1 year that Clemson doesn't win the ACC, what happens? They don't make the playoffs. So the ACC actually needs Clemson to be really good because when they're not, then the ACC don't make the playoffs. Once again, another donation by judicial protest. We appreciate it here at Golden Blue Dude. Thank you for the $5 donation. Says Attorney Haynes Hansen has reviewed the ACC Grant of Rights. He's confirmed it is rock hard and ironclad. #Ram Ranch. So are the ACC teams locked into the ACC till 2036. They are trying to find a way around. There is one way. There is one way, and that's if 8 teams decide they want to vote to break it, or the conference gets whittled down to 8 teams and they can vote to dissolve. That's one way that I know that they can get around it. I don't know if there's any other way, but if you convince, Virginia, Clemson, North Carolina, and Florida State, that's 4 out of your 8, right? Maybe a Miami and a Virginia Tech to go with that, or maybe the Big Ten says, hey, we're interested in 4 as well. Y'all get your 4, we get our 4, get them to break the grant of rights. I don't know.
Here's the problem I have with that statement, and it's 3 things. First of all, you're listening to an attorney. Second of all, you're listening to an attorney that says that it's ironclad. Every contract is ironclad until it goes to court.
That's true.
Very
well said.
Now,
I've heard it from a lot of sources that it is ironclad, but if you look into it, I literally gave you an out. It's 8 teams. I don't know if there's another loophole somewhere else, but if 8 teams vote to break the grant of rights, they're broken. Or if the conference gets down to 8 teams and they want to dissolve, there you go. Other than that, I don't know. I don't know other than that.
You also have precedents, though, that the ACC has let teams out in the past.
Maryland.
So I know you changed the grant of right wording in that. You've let them out in the past, and a lot of times precedence does matter when you go to court.
Yes.
Are there even 8 ACC teams that you could see the Big and SEC picking up? Because if they're taking 4 apiece, that puts them at such a big number. You've now either one of them's got to be Notre Dame, or you're basically saying, hey, the rest of you Big 12 Pac teams, you're just completely off the table. And I don't think there's 8 ACC teams that come above the bar where you would totally close out a Washington or Stanford or Oregon.
Well,
that's true. That's a good point. I'm actually glad that you said that, because that kind of brings us to the title of the video. We've been talking about everything but the title of the video, and that's Virginia Tech. See, the 4 teams listed on what the SEC wants from the ACC is Virginia, Florida State, North Carolina, and Clemson, right? And what I'm hearing is Virginia Tech's like, Virginia Tech ain't going nowhere without us. I don't know if there's like a state law or anything like that connects them at the hip, but I'm hearing, and it's starting to gain traction, that Virginia Tech's like, Virginia can't go anywhere without Virginia Tech. And what, to my understanding, the reason why the SEC put Virginia in that group was simply for North Carolina to have a rivalry, because the SEC doesn't want Duke. So the other alternative could have been either an NC State or a Virginia. So what if the SEC is like, all right, well, Virginia's out, NC State's in, and then the Big Ten can grab Virginia and Virginia Tech, then you're only 2 teams away.
The only
Plus,
ACC teams.
I also heard, though,
that
you don't need 8 teams to break the GOR. You only need 7. Because when they did the grant of rights, since Notre Dame is only partially in on every sport but football, that they don't count towards the grant of rights, so you only have to take 7 to divide it in half.
That makes sense. I guess they said 8 because that would technically be a majority. You know what I'm saying? So maybe it is, just half the league would have to vote on it. I'm not sure. I need to look into that, because I know that seems like it's splitting hairs, but it's really not. 1 vote is big, really, really big. So I need to nail that down and figure out if it's actually 7 or 8. That's a big deal. Anybody that hasn't hit the like button right now, please do so. That helps that helps this video hit the YouTube algorithm, gets it suggested more, and we have a bigger audience. And I know the people that jumped in early hit the like button because the video is growing. So anybody that's new in the chat, do us a favor, do us a solid. It's easy, simple, fast, and free, and it's not a pat on the back. So it's not based on whether you like me or not. It's just to help this video. So yeah, we need to figure out if it is 7 or 8. On your confidence level, Jeff, thinking that it's 7, how high is your confidence on the number 7?
Well, here I'm really confident, and even if you go to 8, this is what I know for sure. North Carolina, Clemson, Virginia, Florida State, and Miami have all spoken, and they want to break the grant of rights.
Say that
now
again.
You have 5
Say that.
teams.
Hold on. Say that one more time.
North Carolina, Virginia, Clemson, Florida State, and Miami. Those
That's
5
5.
teams have already said they want to break the grant of rights.
Okay.
So
they would just need 2 more teams.
Yeah, I mean, you grab Virginia Tech.
Yep. Probably teams that would know that they have a landing spot, because you're not going to get teams to vote if they're like a Boston College. They're not going to vote for it because nobody's going to pick them up. Quickly,
they're not going to take it without a landing spot in writing. And out of the ones you listed, only like a Virginia or North Carolina would be going to the Big Ten, because they could break this rule, but thus far, every single one of their schools has been AAU. That seems to be kind of a hard requirement. Yeah. I know Nebraska isn't anymore, but they were when they joined.
I know Miami is actively seeking AAU, and they're getting really, really close. So that could turn some heads. Cyclone Steve, thank you for the $2 donation, buddy. He says, if the Big 12 gets a good contract, 4 SEC, 4 Big 12, 2 Big 10. I'm guessing teams out of the ACC. So he's thinking that if the Big 12 gets a good contract, then the Big 12 could grab 4 teams out of the ACC, which I would be for. I know I've preached West Virginia and Notre Dame to the ACC, but honestly, I would be okay with West Virginia in the Big 12 if they did get some teams out of the ACC. That's actually a good point. I didn't think about that. Maybe there's some teams that know they can make more money in the Big 12, and they're willing to break the grant of rights as well. Judicial protest. Once again, man, coming hard with the donations. Appreciate the $5 donation, says Attorney David Evan Shore, president of the New York chapter of NAMBLA. I'm guessing that's an acronym. NAMBLA is suing the Big Ten to admit Brandeis University into the conference. What? They have a case? Who is that? I've never heard of that.
Let me help you out here, Golden Blue. NAMBLA is the North American Man-Boy Love Association.
Okay.
Brandeis is a Jewish university with no sports. That's a massive troll shot right there.
That's funny. That's funny. I'm glad you explained it. Now it's actually funny, because I didn't know all the facts behind it. J Dub with the clarification of the troll. I love it. That was awesome.
Thank you for the $5. Here's some more clarification. Just stop. Right now, just stop. Put it to bed. Forget it. Understand this. West Virginia is never ending up in the SEC. The SEC wants nothing to do with West Virginia. It's a loser for the SEC. They want somebody that's going to come in and add value to their conference. West Virginia doesn't.
You do realize that by you telling me to put it to bed, like, that's going to make me do double of it, right? You do realize that. Now I'm going to double down.
I think Sankey is. I think he's nervously sitting this one out. I really do. I think the SEC has been very aggressive, but I think they may sit and wait now. And like Notre Dame sitting in the catbird seat. Don't forget, everybody's talking about these renegotiated TV contracts. A whole lot is going to depend upon what happens with the playoffs. We've got 4 more years. We've got 22, 23, 24, and 25 under the current system. How it looks in 26 going forward could make a big decision on what these conferences do. Because are we going to go to 8 teams? Are we going to go to the 6 New Year Bowls, 6 New Year Day Bowls plus 1? Are we going to go to 12 with first round buys, which would be horrific? Are we going to go to 16, which would be even worse? I think the conferences may sit back and just nervously eye each other. Everybody's got their guns out, got their hands on their guns, they got their hands on their triggers, and they're like, "I promise I'm not going to shoot you," which they would do, which they would be happy to do in a heartbeat.
I like that analogy, J-Dub. I agree that Sankey's sitting back, but the only part of your comment when it comes to that is I don't think he's nervous. I think Greg Sankey is probably the one commissioner out of all commissioners, including the commissioner of the Big Ten, that has the least to worry about. So, yes, I would agree he's probably sitting back, seeing if some things are going to happen. But I don't think he's nervous. I really don't.
You know,
and I found three.
Remember the good, the bad, the ugly? The
Yep.
good, the bad, the ugly. Clint Eastwood says he's going to write the name on the rock, and then they go stand, and you got the music playing, and the three guys, and like, who's going to shoot who? The one
Yep.
guy ends up not having any bullets, and then there's no name on the rock. Notre Dame is that rock out in the middle.
That's true. I agree with
They're
that.
Real quick,
They're
Golden Dude, if I could ask, just curious why you think the 16-team playoff would be so horrific. I mean, SEC is going to get into
I don't think
3 to
it's
5
horrific.
teams.
I just like the 12-team better. Go ahead.
I mean,
J-Dub,
whoever is
you
speaking
said-
now, I can't see the names.
Yeah, it's
Is it
J-Dub.
J-Dub?
The reason why I say that is because I want to ask you how many games you're prepared to make these young men play.
Hey, J-Dub,
What do you mean?
They play more than that in high school and in the NFL.
Yeah, every one of them's willing to play in the NFL right now.
FCS plays
So-
more games. What are you talking about?
There's no difference here, J-Dub.
Yeah, and see,
Okay,
the problem
so
I
you-
had
you-
with what J-Dub was saying was, first of all, the SEC was inviting West Virginia before Missouri and had
Yep.
the contract written out, and then ESPN said, no, take Missouri.
That is a bald-faced untruth.
That is not
No,
bald face.
no,
It's
they wanted
already
to take
come out.
the city. Yeah, that you can Google that. There's a lot of sources for that.
Yeah, that's
But
already
J-Dub.
I'm kind of with this guy J-Dub. I mean, I don't think a lot's going to happen. I think it's just going to settle out. And like you said, hey, they're watching. This is more of a response to Texas and Oklahoma leaving. This is just a response. I think.
But how long?
I
was
can buy
Texas
that.
and
I can buy
Oklahoma-
that.
How long was Texas and Oklahoma going to be leaving before it was brought out? Sankey had talked to him for over 6 months. So if you think Sankey is just sitting in his office not talking to other people right now, you're mistaken.
Oh, he's definitely talking, but at the same time, he might be trying to figure out a counter move. I don't know if he's in attack mode right now because last year they got Oklahoma and Texas, or he might be in counter mode. I'm not sure, but
And
right
don't-
now
don't
a lot of
forget-
things are in the air.
Don't forget that there's a 1 year. I don't know if you want to call it an overlap. You can come up with your own term, but there's a 1 year schism between the Big 12 and the SEC, and that is that on August 1st, 2023, the 4 new teams joined the Big 12. But that's not the deadline for Oklahoma and Texas to leave. Oklahoma and Texas, if they don't want to pay out that money, they can stay and play in the Big 12 in 23, and they can stay and play in the Big 12 in 24.
I will say though, the new Big 12 commissioner says he's actually going to get with Oklahoma and Texas, and he's actually in the mindset of trying to speed that up. He's
Right.
Essentially trying to rip off the Band-Aid very quickly, and plus, that's more money for the Big 12. Even if he has to come down on the penalty, they could work on a settlement to where the Big 12 still gets paid. But hey, see ya. We need to move on to the future.
Yeah. The Big 12 would just. I agree with that. Even if like they lowered the buyout or the penalty in half, just you guys don't want to be here anymore. Get out.
Right.
J-Dub, I'm going to ask you a question, J-Dub. Now, you're a photographer up in Iowa. You photograph Iowa State games and Iowa games. Let me ask you a question. You say you don't want a 12-team playoff, but don't you think that would help a team like Iowa and Iowa State get into the playoffs at times? Why would you not want a 12-team playoff?
Yes, it would, but I'm kind of I guess I'm the grumpy old man in the group. I'm the get off the lawn guy because I look at it like
I agree
this.
with that.
I look at it like this. I've got my dad's recipe for chili that he got from a guy in the Marine Corps back in the Korean War. The recipe is like 60 years old.
That's got to be some good chili though.
I'll tell you what, you can't use a wooden spoon because it'll catch on fire.
Wow.
But anytime you try to mess with that, you don't get the same result. You've got to do it exactly the same way and the exact same steps every single time. It's not like my grandma and your grandma and Tim's grandma and Joey's grandma, who never measured anything in their life. They just grabbed a spoon, went and just threw it all together, and it all came out perfect.
True
This
statement.
has to be done precisely right. And when you start adding water to the chili, you end up with soup. You don't have chili anymore.
Yep.
You start adding, you keep adding teams to the playoffs, and you're watering it down. You're diluting it down. Look at last year.
But I think there's a positive effect as well, because I think it actually makes the regular season and the conference championships more important if you have incentives. This is why I like the 12-team playoff with the bye week, because what they're saying is the top 4 conference champions would get that bye week. So that's incentive number 1, win your conference championship and don't take any games off. Number 2, be one of the best conference champions and you get a bye week. And not only, this is just my opinion, I haven't seen any plans laid out for this. What we've heard is that the first round could have home playoffs, right? And then the top 4 conference champions get the bye week, but then it goes into bowl format. I say first round home playoff game, second round home playoff games, and then when you get into the semifinals, that's when you start the bowl format.
I want to say this, J-Dub. J-Dub, now here's one thing I want to throw in there, J-Dub. I'm all for anything that takes more of it out of the hands of these people that vote these teams in. So the people that are saying, okay, these are the 4 best teams, take it out of their hands a little bit more and put it in the hands of the universities, the coaches, and the players most of all. And if you've got a 12-team playoff, that means more players are getting to play and getting a chance to win a national championship. That's what I'm for.
I understand and respect that point. I'm looking at it strictly from the this isn't basketball. This isn't George Washington making a little run. This isn't Loyola of Chicago, my sister's alma mater, making a little run and getting to the Final Four. Nobody was going to get to the national championship game that was not Georgia or Alabama last year.
Right. You don't get Boise State, Oklahoma without at least giving them a chance, man.
Well, here's the thing.
How often does that happen? Once every 25 years?
Is the only sport that doesn't have a tournament style. I know there's 4 teams, so I guess it's a very, very short tournament. Tournament style, not necessarily a tournament, but a tournament style way of determining their champion. I mean, you have the NFL, they have their playoffs, the NHL, the MLB, the NBA, the FCS, know, the big dance. Yes, that's 68 teams. College football is never going to go to 68 teams, but 12 teams is fine. And that's still on the lower hand, but at least you're covering all the options, maybe a possible run, not necessarily a Cinderella winning the national championship, just making a run. Real quick, guys, super chats coming in. Cyclone Steve, thank you for the $2 donation. Says, who can the SEC/Big Ten add that ups their per team dollar? Well, for the Big Ten would be Notre Dame. For the SEC, that's a good question. I'd have to think on that. David.
That's why I think Sankey's holding. He doesn't see anybody.
North Carolina.
No, well, let me say this about the. Let me say this about
Clemson.
Let me say this about the home playing a playoff game on campus. I love that idea. Nobody's more don't like the neutral sites than me. I mean, I love seeing the games on campus. And
they
what I love
neutral sites in the regular season too. It's got to go away.
What I love Ohio State to have to come to Bryant-Denny. Yeah, but I don't want them to come to Bryant-Denny on December 28th. You know why? Because the students aren't there. You're talking about hosting games on campus when your student bodies are gone.
Oh, yeah. Alabama will have students there on December 28th.
Yeah, and the stadium.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the atmosphere will be less than it would be were that game to be played in November, because the towns are all different.
Trust me,
I agree. It wouldn't be quite up to that level, but I still think it would be spectacular.
Yeah. I still say Yeah, and even though I just said that, I would still like to see
Hold
him
on,
do it
Jeff.
that
Hold
way.
your thought. Hold your thought. Hold your thought. Let me get to these super chats real quick. David Z, thank you for the $5 donation. Says, kill the SEC propaganda /hype /money machine. Big 12 on their way / making moves from life support to expansion. That last part I agree with. Eastern growth coming to Iowa State. Yeah, if that grant of rights gets figured out with the ACC, and I would actually like that as a West Virginia fan. If they go out east, then stay in the Big 12 by all means. Judicial protest, another $5 donation. The only person who uses a wooden spoon better than J-Dub is Robert Wallach, using his wooden spoon on the Pitt offensive line. Hashtag backdoor sprawl. That's
Well,
actually pretty smart.
If
right
I
there.
could use my wooden spoon, I'd like to roll out a little recipe here and see what the room thinks, because there is a playoff format that we have not talked about yet.
Let me get to this real quick. Hold on. John Waffle H2P, $1.99 donation says, you're wrong, GBD. You're just desperate for views. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I'm not pushing whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong. Clean out the wax in your ears. I know it's building up and you can't hear me, so I will speak louder, okay? I'm putting out what I'm hearing, the different scenarios. Whether they actually happen or not, I don't know. It's not about being right or wrong. It's telling you, the listeners, the subscribers, what I'm hearing. That's what it's about.
Okay. Here's a thought. Conference championship games are played. Sugar gets the SEC. Orange gets the ACC. Cotton gets the Big 12. Big 10 and Pac-12 go to the Rose. And then we'll have the Fiesta and the Peach have 4 at-large teams.
Okay.
And then you fill in at-large spots in Cotton, Orange, and Sugar. So you've got 12 teams. There's your 12 teams. You're playing the 6 New Year's Bowls. Okay. The at-large teams, the non-conference champions, are determined not by a room full of people sitting in a committee somewhere, but by everybody agrees this is how we're going to do it, BCS style formula. The New Year's 6 games are played. They're played 3 on New Year's Eve, 3 on New Year's Day, and then 10 days later, we play a one-off. The 2 highest BCS point or whatever formula you come up with that everybody agrees, we may not like it, but we all agree this is what we're going to use. Let those 2 of the 6 winners play for the championship. That way, if you win the Rose Bowl, but you're not the champion, or you win the Orange Bowl, but you don't end up being the national champion, you still had a hell of a year. Man, you won the Orange Bowl. That used to matter.
Exactly. And what about this, J-Dub? I was talking about this with my brother the other day. We have got to get the national championship off of Monday. Whoever came up with that idea, I hate it. I don't like the national championship being on a Monday. I actually think that hurts its ratings. Why in the world do they have it on Monday? I don't know. People hate Mondays. The next day they have to work. Put the national championship either on a Friday night or a Saturday night. Let me run through these super chats real quick. Hold on, J-Dub. The 304 podcast, thank you for the $4.99 donation, says, imagine the SEC take Clemson, Florida State, and Miami. That's an odd number, but okay. I'm going to roll with it. Big 10 takes North Carolina, Duke, Pitt, or Virginia, and the Big 12 takes Virginia Tech, Louisville, and Georgia Tech. My thoughts on 2023 expansion. The only thing that I would push back on that is they would have to even it out. Although they are getting rid of, having to need divisions. So you could go to an odd number, but it still needs to be like a 15 or a 21, something that would make sense, like a 17 or a 19. I would stay away from that. Vanity Rose, thank you for the $2 donation, says, didn't Utah put a foot up in Bama in the Sugar Bowl? Yeah. Back in the day, they actually did do that. I think I have one more I got to catch up on. Stephen Hatcher, good donation of $9.99. Appreciate that. In my opinion, most likely scenario for the Big 12. Here we go. most likely scenario, add 4 corner schools from the Pac, and then add Louisville, Georgia Tech, NC State, and Virginia Tech. The Big Ten and the SEC take the rest. The only part I don't like about that statement is the last part, because you are including teams like Boston College and Wake Forest, and I don't see the SEC or the Big Ten taking either of those two. But in general, I like it, and I actually hope the Big 12 does do that, and that way West Virginia can stay in the Big 12, and it makes sense.
Well, think about this scenario. Think about this scenario, and I like to hear what the room in the chat thinks about this. If you do this New Year's Six thing, I think probably all of us here we could probably, as much as we all disagree on everything, we could probably all agree that the mouse is the enemy. Disney is the enemy. Fox is the enemy. The big shots in the corporate boardrooms are the enemy here. If you go to the bowl games, you can give one. I know ABC and ESPN are the same, but you give one to ABC, put the Cotton Bowl on CBS. You give one to Fox. You give one to NBC. You spread it out a little bit, and then make that +1 game the Super Bowl. 1 year, you broadcast it. The next year, you broadcast it. The next year, you broadcast it. So you don't have one entity sitting there controlling the championship game.
You're pointing out the biggest problem in college football, and that's one entity trying to take over. Right now, it's basically down to 2, and that's Fox and ESPN. They're trying to overtake each other. I mean, you have NBC with Notre Dame, but CBS got outbid by ESPN for the SEC. I didn't like that at all. I wanted CBS to stay in the game simply because of their intro. I love their intro. So you actually made really good points, and I agree with that, because the worst thing for college football is for one entity to control everything. Then they can do whatever they want, create whatever rules they want, governing body, however to enforce everything. So I agree with that, J-Dub. Well done.
Well, but I got to drop into the chat. I got to drop into the chat, and I took up way too much time, and I apologize for yakety yak on top of everybody here. Hope everybody has a great
arguing with you, man.
Hope everybody has a great night. I hope everybody has a great night, and we can all agree. In just a few days, we're going to turn the calendar to August, and I think we can all smell the grass. We can all smell the sweat. We're getting there, boys. Just hang on, fellas. It's coming. Season's coming.
We're almost there. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Y'all have a great night.
Have a good night, buddy. Yeah, we love to argue with J-Dub. We love to argue with him.
Here's my only problem with that, and I don't know how old J-Dub is, but I think I'm probably the old man in this room.
Oh.
I was born in 70, so I'm an old man.
I'm sure J-Dub will type his birth year in the comment section. There's a high probability that's happening.
But
Jeff, you're a young puppy.
I'm sorry. Sorry, Joy.
Oh,
yeah, I'm the youngest in here for sure.
Now, yeah. I do like the Bulls, and I grew up watching the Bulls, but the thing that always made me mad about college football is we are the only sport in the only division that doesn't have a true playoff.
Right.
You got to have a playoff. And
well, hold on. People use that argument to say that's what separates college football from everybody else. Nonsense. What separates college football from everybody else is the tradition and pageantry, the home field, all that stuff. Playoffs, tournament style playoffs wouldn't change that.
But you say the pageantry and that, but I remember, and this was just before my time a little bit, but Notre Dame never played in bowl games. For the longest time, Notre Dame didn't go to bowl games.
Yeah.
But
it was strictly conference tie-in. But that's one of the reasons why I like the 12 team as well, because Notre Dame, if they don't join a conference, they have no chance of getting the bye. That's another, bonus for that.
Well, and that's another thing that the Big Ten kind of addressed a little bit, and now they're wondering that if we don't go to a 12-team playoff, it's gonna force Notre Dame into a conference.
Exactly. Well, at least maybe they are so stubborn to where they're like, we don't care as long as we get in and host a playoff game. We're going to stay independent and get our $75 million a year. So I don't think it guarantees, but it does put pressure on them. So I'm not going to go as far as saying, hey, if we go to 12 and those stipulations are put in, Notre Dame's joining a conference. No, that's not necessarily true. Notre Dame thinks like Notre Dame.
Right. And the other thing with only having one, Mickey Mouse, I understand that, but here's the problem. You know, CBS had the SEC, and the SEC made them money. Okay. Now, they only paid the SEC like $50 million.
Yep.
ESPN went to $300 million. If you
That's
don't
a
want
big
ESPN
gap.
to have all these games, I mean, look at the NFL. If you don't want ESPN to have these games, then Fox and NBC and, you know, they have to step up and they have to pay the money. The problem is they're not willing to.
Well, let me ask the panel this. This is for everybody. Do y'all think that ESPN immediately went to 300 just to shut out any counters? Or do you think there was countering all the way up to 300? To me, that's a big gap. To me, that tells me that they made, you know, a bid that's out of the ballpark that they knew that CBS couldn't bid. But I don't know how they think. What do y'all think about that?
Well, they're a giant corporation. I mean, they're affiliated with Disney, and there's been a lot of jokes. I mean, I don't know how many South Park fans are in the comments section, but we've all seen the South Park eps about Disney and them in China, and it's big money. And I'm not trying to say, you know, I'm not trying to get on some conspiracy shit, but they got the money. They got the money. You know,
well, the biggest thing is you got to remember that they're bidding not just one network. You know, they've got ABC as well.
Yeah,
so they're bidding huge. They can bid huge. So
that's an unfair advantage that we don't think of.
Yeah. Disney might
well
be
said,
the
Joey.
big
I didn't think
umbrella.
about that. Well said.
Yeah, Disney might be the big umbrella, but they're still kind of separate companies in their own right, and they're trying to turn a profit. Like, this isn't charity; they got to make money on this. So if they're bidding a certain amount, it's because they can make money on it.
Judicial protest, man. He's coming tonight. He's coming. $5 donation, appreciate it. He says Michael P. Boulay is the only man to be declared an eligible receiver by both the Big Ten and the Minnesota. Hashtag the Minnesota. I've never seen that. Hashtag Pride March. he's letting it all hang out tonight. He is letting it all hang out tonight. But yeah, that was a good point by Joey, because a lot of people forget that ABC is a part of ESPN. So, you know, it's not just one network. I mean, yes, they're a part of it, but they're different stations. So, you know, they can carry more games. So you could have, you know, your highlight game on ESPN or ABC probably. And then the next, you know, highest as far as intriguing matchups or most watched could be on ESPN, the regular ESPN. And then the next one, ESPN2, and so on and so forth. Whereas CBS just had CBS. That's a great point that I didn't think of, Joey. Good job on that one.
Well, CBS Sports or college sports, it used to be CSTV back in like 2006. I don't know if you guys remember that channel.
Yep, I do. But that kind of fizzled out, and that wasn't really, you know.
You had a lot of competition because Fox had Fox Sports and Fox Sports
right. And that's why Fox is surviving. They did the same thing with ESPN.
Right, but then you got ESPNU, everything. So yeah, there's just a huge gap between ESPN and ABC and Fox. You know, a lot of people tune in to ESPN. Everybody tunes in for College Game Day, and they just stay there or shoot over to ABC, because on College Game Day on Saturday, think about it, the games that get advertised the most are right there on College Game Day. And they're not advertising the games that are over on Fox, of course, and they're not advertising the games that are on CBS. They're advertising.
They'll predict
their
them,
games.
but they're not advertising them.
Right, exactly.
I think we said Notre Dame 3 times in a row because we have Will the Notre Dame fans show up. What's going on, buddy?
Well, okay, with all this TV talk, I think that, I don't know, I don't think this will like matter for like the TV money will like matter that much, because I think that a lot of streaming services are going to get like a lot of the buzz now. Like CBS can use Paramount Plus to stream their other games.
And you know who gets high numbers on streaming right now? West Virginia.
That's true.
Yep, that's a fact. Cyclone Steve, thank you for the $2 donation. He says, NFL, MLB, and playoff games for money, but not NCAA football. That's another thing. Like it would be more money for college football. Like everything positive is in favor of playoff expansion. So this should have been done, 3-4 years ago, but they still drag their feet for whatever reason. I'm sure they have their actual reasons. I just don't know what they are because everything points to they should expand. And we also have not false. We don't have false. Getting mixed up on my words. Not false Seminole, but true Seminole. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man? How'd you like the raid from the ACC show tonight?
I know. Yeah, it was,
Dude, that was
a whole
fun.
wave. Yeah.
Long live the ACC show, bro.
Yeah, I like that show actually. I was
No,
hoping
we like
that
you, man. We love you. Trust me, we love you.
I want to break in.
everybody
I wanna
loves
break in
Golden
just a
Blue,
second.
right? Everybody loves Golden Blue.
100%, brother.
I
Especially
want to break
Slim
in just a
Shady
second,
Kane.
GBD.
Go
I'm gonna
ahead.
break in just a second because I want to remind everybody of the contest going on. If you're able to get a sign up on ESPN College Game Day, if you're able to get a sign up that says Golden Blue Dude, we're going to give you a $100 gift card to our merchandise store.
Yeah.
Here's another kicker to that. We'll just add a little twist to that. If you're wearing Golden Blue Dude attire when you do that, so if you go over to the merchandise store and you get you a T-shirt, you've got a Golden Blue Dude T-shirt on, and you hold that sign up, we'll give you 150. Just get on College Game Day with Golden Blue Dude.
We're on a mission this year. Get Golden Blue Dude on College Game Day, and I know they're coming to the backyard brawl, but they're saying they're going to be inside the stadium. So I don't know if there's a way for me to get us on there, but if there is, I'll figure it out. And this guy Judicial Protest, he will not let the NABLA thing go away. Appreciate the $5 donation. Here's what he has to say about it this time. J-Dub and Sandusky. Oh, crap. Are founding members of the Penn State, blah, 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 chapter. That's why he rattled off the acronym so fast. I don't even know what to say about that. I don't even know what to say about that.
Well, my
Talking
question
about
is,
that.
does that mean judicial
You trying to get Golden
protest?
Blue Dude taken
What?
down. That's what you trying to do.
Does that mean
Traveling
he's
Fools
part of
just came in the
Damn
chat.
Club because he knew what it was also?
Traveling fools, my God.
Traveling Fools just came
Fools,
in the
that
chat.
was a great softball game, but they had a live show. I think it was on the Lunch Money show last night that revealed some things that I wasn't aware of. Number one, Team Raj had one more player in the outfield than what we thought because it was agreed upon before the game started that both teams would have a substitute. Well, we kept our substitute on the bench when we went out to field. Team Raj didn't do that. Another thing was crazy coincidence. They had a camera set up behind home plate, right? And they had a new umpire because Traction Jackson, he was getting hot. I think he umped the first 3 or 4 innings. They had a new umpire come in, and he went straight to the camera and he said, I don't know if this thing's rolling, but I want it to be crystal clear that I am cheating for Team Fools. Why in the world would an umpire
You talking about Sea-Dog's
that
brother?
is cheating, if he is cheating, right? If he is cheating, why would an umpire who's cheating, because they're claiming he was cheating for them, why would he go up to the camera and tell everybody he was cheating? To me, this is just me.
It was a joke.
To me, that screams that was set up just in case they lost. That's just me.
Not a good look.
Yeah.
Nah, I remember that. That was Sea-Dog's brother coming up to the camera. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. I mean, if you're actually cheating, why would you go up to the camera and say it?
No, I feel like that
Not
was
just rattled off. I mean, he made sure to enunciate well. He made sure the sentence was structured properly. He made sure he went by the script. Just saying.
Now, I do got to ask you something, Golden Blue Dude.
Go ahead,
If
buddy.
West Virginia joins the ACC, will you join the ACC show?
Well, I will put in my application. So it would be up to Sea-Dog and Pigskin Pete to accept me. But yes, I would most definitely put in my application. So y'all would need to put pressure on them to accept Golden Blue Dude.
Oh, man. We'll see how things light up and what Disney decides to do with you guys.
Yeah. Well, since this is, I'm having a lot of fun. Okay, guys, but this is a late show. I got to get to bed because I got to wake up early. So I'm going to wrap this up a little early. Today was just a crazy day. And this is why I tell people to hit the notification bell because I don't know when I'm going to go live. Anybody in the chat, if you're not a college football fan, don't worry about hitting the subscribe button. But if you are, I'm just saying I would hit the subscribe button if I were you, because that's all we talk about around here. But before we get out of here, I always like to give my guests the last word. You can talk about anything you want, college football related, and give your last word before you get off here. So we're going to go in order. True Seminole, you can talk about the ACC show, the ACC, or Florida State, whatever. What is your last word, buddy?
Yeah, of course. If you're an ACC fan out there, dude, please check out Pigskin Pete. He's an awesome YouTuber. ACC show tunes in at 7 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday. Best show ever, trust me.
It is a great show. I can back that up.
Wonderful people on the show. Sea-Dog is there, but please do take time out your day to go tune into that.
Awesome stuff, man. And I do back that up. That it is a great show. Will, Notre Dame fan, what's the last word, buddy?
Unfortunately, the reason that the expansion hasn't happened in the college football playoff is because these conferences want bigger TV deals before they do it. Because they don't want all that money going to ESPN. They want some of that money going to themselves. So
that's fair.
The reason why.
I got you, man. Appreciate you, man. Joey, number one, last word, but number two, tell them what else going on with Golden Blue Dude.
Oh my goodness, we got so much going on at Golden Blue Dude right now.
That's why I'm throwing it to you. I can't remember it all.
Yeah, we've got Substack going on. So we've got writers. Head over to Substack.com, search out Golden Blue Dude. All of our writers are on there. By the way, you can access anything Golden Blue Dude through our website. So you can go to www.goldenbluedude.com and access absolutely anything from our podcast to the writers to our merchandise store, everything right through there. Also, you can even access YouTube through there. So
and don't forget to tell them what promotion we're going to start running on August 1st as far as prizes.
So I want to thank, that's the reason I was shouting out Traveling Fools a while ago for coming in. Traveling Fools is an awesome guy. He has donated some things that I'm not going to tell what the prizes are right now, but you're going to want to be here starting August 1st. Anybody that makes a super chat on one of the prizes, anybody that makes a super chat of $5 or more is going to get a chance to win that. And it's going to be the whole month. We're going to run it the whole month because these are big prizes. The whole month of August.
I'm going to give him a hint. Hold on. Let me give him a hint. So it's two prizes, and the combined value of both of these prizes over $300.
Yeah,
well, right around $300. It might be over. It's right around $300. Good prizes,
really
very good prizes.
Yes, these are really nice. And the other one's going to be if you make a purchase at our merchandise store, you're eligible to win another prize. The other prize, it's going to be a little bit more valuable. But we're going to set all that up, and that'll all start August the 1st and run through the entire month of August. So be sure, you want to come in August and get involved in that as much as possible because you're going to want these prizes. Especially, I'll give you another hint. Especially if you're a hunter or know a hunter or something, you're going to want these prizes. All right,
you will.
I'm gonna get out of here. GBD, you drop me out because I'm able to stop your stream if I go out.
Okay, I got you, buddy. Thanks for coming on, man.
All
right. Sergeant Pickles, last word, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm glad I could make it in this time. And, I'd enjoy your streams. I get a lot of flack from people defending my Huskies in the Pac-12. But, I think we're like the Black Knight and Monty Python. We're missing some arms and legs, but we ain't dead yet. So
hey, Washington has
I'll keep doing battle in your comments.
Yes. Washington is a good brand. I think you guys will be fine. But yeah, come join the show more, man. I had fun with you. Jeff Grimm, last word, buddy.
Hey, I want to say that the Big 12 isn't in as great a shape as they think they are.
Ooh.
Colorado, I don't know if you read the thing. Their leaders come out and called the Big 12 JUCO.
Oh, man.
Colorado really doesn't want to go to the Big 12.
Wow.
I know it was reported in
and saying that they're in the Pac-12 calling the Big 12 JUCO, that's funny.
Yeah. And you got Utah, who's kind of not wanting to go now.
That I mean.
Stanford, Washington, and Oregon have pretty much figured out that they can go to the Big Ten or the ACC, and they think the ACC is a little bigger. and a little better. So I don't think the Big 12 is as great as they think they are. And especially if what I've heard this morning, and I got to find out from another source here tonight, but their TV contract isn't looking that great from what I've heard.
Yeah, I think that's why they're looking at these new teams, because it's not, and I saw the numbers too. I mean, it's not like Pac-12 bad, but it's not great.
No, I mean, and it's not what they were getting with Texas and Oklahoma, anywhere near. So,
exactly.
But hey, great show. Hope you do a couple more night ones. I really like these night ones.
I'll work them in there, man. I'll work them in there. It all depends on my schedule. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, you have a great night.
You as well, buddy. Thank you for coming on. Let me get through these super chats real quick. I knew John Waffle H2P was going to give another jab. I knew it, but we appreciate the $1.99 donation. Which backyard brawl is your favorite? 30-30 or 13-9? Anything but the 13-9. You already know the answer to that. Judicial protest, man. He is cranking out the super chats today. We appreciate the $5 donation. He says WVU is a vocational school. Ouch. Marshall University will be admitted to the Ivy League. You are forgiven because of the last part of that comment. Well done. Vanity Rose, thank you for the $5 donation. Says Big 12 needs to pass on Arizona. They have one 10-win season in the last 20 years. Fair point. Cal has a better location and recruiting. He just made an argument for Cal in the Big 12, and I think it was a pretty good argument because he is right. Arizona has been bad in football. Now, really bad the past 2 years, but overall, not great. Good arguments, guys. Real quick before we get out of here, appreciate everybody that tuned into the live show. It's not a show without you guys. These live shows are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's because of you, and it's because you hit the like button. And even though we're on our way out, if you haven't hit the like button, do so. It still helps the video. Even people rewatching, even if it's not live, the more likes it has, the more suggested this video will be. So hit the like button on the way out. It'll still continue to help the video. So thank you to everybody watching. Thank you to all the viewers, all the people that super chatted. In fact, I'm going to bring up the big one again because this was awesome. Well, it won't let me show it. But we had a massive super chat earlier. It was the $100 donation from Fester, and I love the handle he has. Let me find it real quick. I got to pop that back up there because that was well worth it. That was a massive, massive donation. Almost there, almost there, almost there. Here we go, almost there. Sounds like I'm singing a song, don't it? I thought it would let me put it up just by hitting it at the top because it's still showing it at the top, but apparently I still had to scroll to it. And anyways, I appreciate everybody that super chatted though, because it helps the show. This is my job full time. This is what I do. There it is right there. Booyah. This is what I do full time. Can't do it without you guys. So all the super chat donations greatly appreciated. If you're not subscribed to Golden Blue Dude, please think about it. College football, all we do. Yes, I'm being called college football and on, or GBD and on, or Golden Blue Dude and on, because I talk about all the possible scenarios. I tell you what I'm hearing. It's not me saying this is what's going to happen. I just tell you what I'm hearing. And all right, let me give you a quick update before we get out of here. So our goal is to get to 10,000 subscribers by the kickoff of the Backyard Brawl, which is September 1st. Right now, we're at 9,242. That's 200 sub days in a row. So we're having a great week. I think we'll get there. I'm confident we're going to get there. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Shout out to Traveling Fools for the prizes that we're going to be promoting throughout the month of August. And Traveling Fools has a YouTube channel himself. So go check out that YouTube channel. He's close to 1,000 subscribers, and that is a big, big goal for YouTubers. It is a massive goal. So if you're not subscribed to Traveling Fools, go check out his YouTube channel. He covers a lot of content. He's a great guy, college football guy. Go check it out. Awesome stuff over there. And he literally bought the gifts that we're going to be promoting throughout the month of August. So yeah, great guy. And he was actually the captain of Team Fools. That's why it was called Team Fools. So yeah. I'm trying to scroll all the way down. Thank you, Joey. I was scrolling down. Anthony Zappin, appreciate the $10 donation. Did not make me say, let's go Herd, but I still said it. Dadgummit, I tricked myself. Anyways, he said, let's go Mountaineers. Let's go blue and gold, dude. Well, it's going to blue, dude, but it's okay. It's okay. Appreciate the donation. Anyways, on the way out, guys, hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Tomorrow, another live show, but I don't know when. That's why it's important to hit the notification. So hit the notification. That way, you know the next time I go live. But for now, I'm out of here. Y'all have a great night, and I'm going to see you tomorrow.